welcome back to the Villa View. I'm joined by Dan Bardell this morning as we're going to look at what is actually going wrong at the moment when it comes to the management of Villa Park and why have we got the worst record in the Football League in 2017?
It's difficult to say because when Steve Bruce first came in and he was working with purely what he had, we got off to a decent start under him and obviously we were pushing for the playoffs. I think we ended the year in ninth, and then 2017's come along and it's just been an all-round disaster. We seem to be getting worse each week. I think we've probably changed too much in January, and in some cases we've changed things that didn't really need changing, like the goalkeeper, for example. He's come in and not been great, so the defence that was the only real part of the team that you thought, yeah, we've got it right here, the defence has suddenly looked all over the place. The home record, again, which is one of the only positives we had, that's gone, and we've lost 2 in the last week. And Steve Bruce looks a bit lost. I mean, I said it on Twitter. Like, I don't like being a team that sacks managers, and I don't think we should sack Bruce. He needs to be part of the solution at Villa, but at the moment, he is a massive part of the problem. I mean, there's nothing wrong with backing the manager and questioning their decisions, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I know there's a lot of frustrated fans at the moment from fan cams, people getting frustrated, but I think the general understanding is we have to stick with him. Alex Neil, we've seen at Norwich, went on a similar run to what we're on now, but Norwich decided to stick with him.
Not like this, though. It wasn't
not this bad, but a similar example that fans were turning on the manager and he's turned it around. And I think that Bruce has certainly got the experience to have to do so. And he's certainly got the ammo as well. It's just the case of actually doing something instead of throwing mud at wall and hoping it sticks at the moment. Or in somebody's case, they've referenced it as being money being thrown up a wall and it not sticking.
I mean, to be fair, the money's there to be spent, and obviously he wants to get in his own players. So I understand that we've spent money. I just don't think there needed to be this massive turnaround. I mean, it's obvious we needed a striker at the start of January, but obviously we left it till the end of January to get one in. As I say, I don't think we needed a goalkeeper. Neil Taylor, another one. Did we really need another left back at the expense of losing Ayew? Because to me, Sissoko and Amavu, that was an adequate left back for us in the Championship. I think we've changed some things that we didn't really need to change, and I think that's what's cost us. I mean, the Brentford game was the catalyst for me. I mean, everyone's really buoyant. We've got a load of new signings, and he threw them all in at the same time, which I said after the game was, and I said before the game, it was just bizarre. It's not what you do. You can't just throw 3 or 4 new people in one game and expect it to click. And we got dominated and we got well beaten, and it could have been more for Brentford. I'm just a bit confused because it seems like Bruce is making the kind of panic decisions that Villa managers always seem to do towards the end of their tenure at the club. I mean, you saw Sherwood go to 5 at the back. You saw Di Matteo go to 5 at the back. I don't think Remy Gard did at any point. Occasion when Lambert was under pressure, he went to 5 at the back, and I know Bruce knows how to play that formation because he's played it before. But it's the sign of panic stations that you then abandon that after 2 weeks, so there's no tactical fluidity at all in the team. The players look like they're going out and they don't know what they're doing again, and it's just bizarre because we have got one of the most established managers in the Championship. Steve Bruce knows what he's doing in the Championship. He might not know what he's doing in the Premier League, you could argue, but the Championship's his bread and butter. He knows exactly what to do at this level, yet it's still not working. And now we ain't got a prayer of the playoffs, but looking at the games we've got to come, especially at Villa Park, I am worried about being sucked in, and I don't care who you are as manager, that's unacceptable.
It is totally unacceptable. I don't get some of the tactical decisions he's made. We've touched on the formation, but then simple stuff like Conor Hourihane, for example, against Barnsley. He was playing in the central defensive midfield role. He was a deep line midfielder. This is a playmaker that's averaged the best player in the league this season before he came to Villa Park. He was the best player in the league this season. Been in attacking position, scoring goals, assisting goals, and producing something that creates the game. And then we've seen in previous weeks he's been shoved on the right side of midfield when he's left-footed. He's got a pearl of a left foot, and he's been shoved in the defensive midfield role and at right mid.
Well, there's all sorts of strange positional decisions going on. I mean, Saturday against Ipswich, if you are going to play 5 at the back, which is a formation that can work, we know that can work because we saw it in the olden days with Gregory and Little, but you have to have wing backs that can come forward. Neil Taylor and Alan Hutton could not come forward. They're not adept at coming forward. They're defensive fullbacks. You've got Amavi and Bakuna sat on the bench. I guarantee you, if they'd have started, we'd have looked a hell of a lot more dangerous against Ipswich, and I think we possibly could have won the game because they were there. They were there for the taking. The two up front's not working at the moment. Codger and Hogan. They're not working as a pair. Codger is a very good footballer, but he can also be a very frustrating footballer. Hogan looks peeved already, to be honest. Must be wondering what he's done. But these players didn't join Villa to sit 18th in the Championship, and it's worrying that that's where we sit.
Just going to read this stat for you. 103 shots in 2017. We've scored 4 goals. It's an awful stat, and as you said, the two at the front hasn't really worked so far. I don't know what it is about the two at the front. And then another stat that is perhaps alarming and shows that we shouldn't be relying on the player, and it shows that we probably underestimate this guy. I know I certainly don't, and you don't. Mili Jedinak, we haven't won a game this season when he hasn't played.
I mean, I don't think Jedinak was on the best of form before he got injured, in fairness, but he does do a job that nobody else at Villa can do, which again is concerning because then you lose one player and it affects the way you play. You're always going to have injuries, so you can't. I don't think you can use missing one player as a reason why we haven't won a game in 2017. Actually, that shouldn't be happening. I mean, I can't believe. I mean, I accepted the Championship was going to be hard, and I accepted that it probably wasn't going to be a one-season thing. I hoped that it was, but we shouldn't be down here. I don't care who. As I say, I don't care who the manager is. I don't care what's going on. Aston Villa should not be 18th in the Championship, looking over their shoulder, and we certainly shouldn't be with the money we've spent and the manager we've got. So this, again, it's where we're looking at, is there something fundamentally wrong with Aston Villa? But everything has changed, and I don't know what's wrong, other than at the moment the tactics are bizarre.
Tactically, we've been playing better in terms of attacking over the past 2 games, but still we're sitting too deep at times. Like, the past 2 games we've had 44 shots on goal. That's 22 shots a game. Yet we haven't converted our chances. Is this the case of that the chances we are trying to create are stupid and we're going for too long range? Because obviously stats can be deceiving. Or is it just simply the case that defence is so shaky, as soon as we're on the back foot, we're going to concede? I
really don't know. I mean, the Ipswich game, I was amazed when I saw that we had 22 shots. Absolutely amazed, because it didn't feel like it. I remember the second half, Baker putting a header wide. The first half, we had a couple of near misses. We hit the bar and the keeper made a very good save. But I don't remember 22 shots. I mean, half of them Codger blasting it into the north stand. I just don't remember us having these shots. It doesn't feel to me like we're very creative and really fluid going forward at the moment. Like you say, stats can be deceiving, but we're not scoring goals is the crux of the situation. And now we're not scoring goals, plus the defence looks a bag of nerves, so it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Henry Lansbury's come in, he's been okay. Conor Horan, on the other hand, hasn't been great. I'm sure he'll be the first to admit that. Jack Grealish has been poor recently. Albert Adoma's running into absolutely nothing at the moment, but other players. He's not creating space that he did on the wing before. Is this Steve Bruce tactically going, hold back, restrain ourselves? Or is this the case that these players are too nervous right now and that he is losing the dressing room? Because there's only so much one manager can blame the players before the players turn around and go, nah, forget this.
I don't think he knows what's wrong, which again is a complete worry. I think the problem at the moment is the more you lose games, the more you don't win games, the confidence gets lower. You start to make odd decisions on the pitch. The manager starts to make odd decisions tactically, and everyone's panicking. But nobody knows what to do. Like you say, Adoma is running into absolute cul-de-sacs when he's on the pitch at the moment. Codger's making the wrong decisions. There's a lot of pressure on young Jack. I think people expect him to beat 10 players every time he gets the ball. That's not going to happen. If you put him in a good team, he's a good player and he'll stand out, but there's too much pressure on him in an already underperforming side. Horahan's not hit the ground running. For some games we've had Lansbury, who looks like an all-action box-to-box midfielder to me. You've got him sitting as the deep-lying midfielder. I mean, you're playing 5 at the back, and we spoke to Ian Taylor about this. You don't need a sitting midfielder when you're playing 5 at the back, especially when your wing backs aren't going forward. That's too defensive. You're not going to create chances. You're not going to score goals. And then obviously we got caught on the break against Ipswich after, I think it was after a set piece. There's just problems everywhere at the moment. I think there's too many problems, and Bruce doesn't know. It's like he's only got a certain amount of band-aids, and he's trying to plug one thing, but then there's still 4 other things going off the other side. It's just, I don't know. I don't have the answer, and I'm sure you don't, and I'm sure at the moment, I'm sure Steve Bruce doesn't have the answer either.
We haven't got an identity either.
No.
Tried so many tactics in terms of, we've tried the all-out attack, and that just goes to nothing. Defensively, doesn't work. Counter-attacking, we've been filled in the wrong place to even try counter-attacking football. Perhaps we did try and sign too many too soon, but then, in hindsight, could this benefit us next season? I don't know. Or are we really just going to get dragged into a relegation dogfight right now? Because the teams are below us, likes of Wigan, are picking up points.
And that's the worry, and that's what always used to happen in the Premier League. The teams at the bottom start to pick up points, and you're looking over your shoulder. The problem is, teams play against Villa. They are 110% up for it. They want to win. They want to beat Aston Villa. We seem to turn up a lot of the time. We'll play well for 10, 15 minutes, but as soon as a team starts having a go at us, we cave, and that's what's happened. We started the Brentford game well for the first 10, 15 minutes. Ipswich was exactly the same. 3-1 at home to Barnsley. I mean, come on. They're a good team. They're a good team in the Championship. But that shouldn't be happening. The goals, that set piece, the third one. I mean, you get yourselves back in the game just before half time. You're thinking, right, Villa are going to come out here and have a real good go. And within 10 minutes, you're 3-1 down and the game's over. It is this case that we've got such a weak mental backbone, or there is no backbone, and it's different players, which is completely alarming. I don't get why we still cave. When Villa go a goal down, you know that's the end of the game. That's it. It's scary that we are where we are. Absolutely scary.
It is really scary, and I know you can't take nothing away from Barnsley on Tuesday night, but we bought Conor Hourihane as well as signing James Bree, and Sheffield Wednesday took Winnall off them. That's 3 arguably of their best players. I know that means nothing in football, but theoretically, it should give us the advantage, and it really didn't. And this stat is the one that proves our points about the fact opening half an hour or so were okay. The stats show we conceded more goals than we scored after 30 minutes to the 90th minute. And that shows a lapse of concentration, no backbone, and just a weak mentality as a whole. I don't know where we go next. For me, we need stability. I don't think it's the right time to sack the manager. I said in fan cams on Tuesday night, I don't think Gary Rowett would even come near us with a barge pole right now, despite what fans seem to think. I don't think it's the right timing in terms of why would Gary Rowett come here? I just don't think it's the right move to even consider sacking Bruce at this moment in time.
There's something fundamentally wrong when Steve Bruce, with his record in the Championship, is drowning in the Championship. It's something to do with Aston Villa. But we can't sack him. I don't think we can. I think if we did, we'd be looking at a short-term caretaker manager, like you say. A manager like Gary Rowett is not going to come into Villa now and take that risk, the risk of going down to League One. It's just not going to happen. But at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me if Bruce was gone at the end of the season. But I just don't know what the answer is anymore, because I can't see that changing another manager is the answer. Some
fans suggesting that it is the time for Bruce to go. And I accept that view. Like, I'm not going to argue against it. I can see why people are thinking that. People pay their hard-earned money to come to Villa Park to watch the game, and they expect results. But I'm sorry, but it isn't the right time.
Bruce has inherited, you'd say, at least decent squad when he came in, and he got that squad playing, in fairness to him, and we did rise up the league. He's had January, and he's bought his players now, so I know it's not the finished article, and you'll see Steve Bruce's Villa next season, probably, hopefully not, in League One, but I don't think he can have too many excuses at the moment. I think the owner's backed him. He's got the players, obviously, in he wanted. He's chose the ones to get rid of, and I'm not convinced they were all savvy decisions. We've lost a couple of players who I think were useful, that we could do with. I think he's made a couple of mistakes in the transfer market, and I think he's made a lot of mistakes tactically recently, and that certainly needs to change, because otherwise we really are going to find ourselves in a dogfight, and I'm not convinced that Aston Villa have got the mentality to get out of another dogfight. I think we could sink. The Rotherham and Bristol City games are huge. If we take 6 points from them, we'll be okay. But I cannot see where the next point's coming from at the moment, and that in itself should tell you that there's massive problems.
I'm really concerned for Monday night in particular.
Oh, Monday. I'd forgotten that we were even playing Newcastle on Monday. They hate us. They want to tank us. Kieran Clark will suddenly turn into the best centre-back in the world against us. Monday's a worry. That could be when we went down there and lost 6-0 when Carew did a Matt Lynch penalty into the stands. That was bad. This could quite easily be another 5-6-0 on current form. So we've got a guy on our YouTube comments, Vizoff. So I'm sick of the, well, Bruce has got a good record shouts. Fans have been phased with this record and unaware of what he's actually doing. We have to sack Bruce. The man is clueless and we are heading to League One. I don't care if it will be our third manager this season. I don't necessarily agree with everything he said there, but at the moment it's so difficult to argue against it because we are so bad, and the fact is we are getting worse, and we're getting worse very quickly. I don't know what you think.
We can't be sacking him, and I don't know what to suggest. I'd love to know what Vizoff suggests next, because Gary Rowett isn't coming nowhere near us. It isn't going to help having Colin Calderwood as like a temporary boss, because let's face it, it's no coincidence the form has dropped since that Brighton game when he came in.
I think it might be a coincidence. Like, Brighton were doing well when he was there, so he's obviously not a bad coach. He knows the club. He used to play for the club, and we always say, you'd like someone on the coaching staff that's been at Villa, knows what they're about, and I've no doubt that Colin Calderwood knows what Villa's about. The biggest thing Bruce has done wrong, in my opinion, and this is my final thought, is he found a way of playing 4-3-3 when he came in. It wasn't the prettiest, but it was grinding out results and it was working. Bakuna is not the best player in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but in that 4-3-3 in the midfield, him, Gardner and Jedinak, I think it was, that was working, and we stepped away from it, and we shouldn't have done. You don't step away from things that are working on the pitch, and we've now had a mishmash of formations and not found a way of playing that was effective as that since. So in my mind, he had the 4-3-3. He should have stuck with it because that was working. And we know that Villa have got a soft underbelly, a soft centre. I think we have to have three central midfielders, otherwise we lose games. And you saw on Tuesday fans asking for 4-4-2. Aston Villa cannot play 4-4-2 because of the midfielders. Saying all that, I wouldn't play 4-3-3, but it's more effective than what we've been seeing over the last 3 minutes. I mean, how many positions has Bjarnason played in since he's come to the club? New league, not fully fit. We must have played him in 4 or 5 positions. That isn't good management, whichever way you look at it. I know that's not good management.
For me, 4-3 could work. Jedinak in the sitting role, Conor on the left, Lansbury on the right. Then further forward, you've got Adoma and Kodra on the wings, and Hogan as the middleman. We've sat here talking for 28 minutes now, and I think that is what we need to do. I think we need to go 4-3-3.
4-4-2 diamond. I'll do a video on it. There's no good covering it now. I'll do a video on it.
Get your comments in below what you think's going wrong at Aston Villa in terms of managerially. What is it tactically that's going wrong? Let us know in the comment section below. And also make sure you are liking this video and subscribing to the Villa Viewer, your post notifications on. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another one? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. And don't forget to subscribe. Click on our logo there on the left and press subscribe. Easy.